I thought I knew everything about Mela. After all, we had been together for 5 years, known each other for 9. In less than 2 weeks, we were supposed to stand in front of our family and friends, say our vows, and begin the rest of our lives together. Everything was set: the venue, the honeymoon, the guest list. Then, one evening, she asked me to come to therapy with her. That was strange. Mela had been seeing a therapist for a while, but she never talked about it much. Therapy was her private space, something she guarded fiercely. Now, out of nowhere, she wanted me to sit in on a session. Still, I agreed. I figured maybe it was just a premarital counseling thing, a chance to clear the air before we said I do. Maybe she wanted to talk about wedding stress or about our future. It never even crossed my mind that this would be the last time I would ever look at her the same way. The day of the session, I arrived at the office a little early. Mela was already inside. I sat in the waiting room for nearly 20 minutes before I was finally let in. The therapist greeted me with a warm smile, shook my hand, and said something that made my stomach tighten. "You're not quite how she described you." I remember smiling politely, but inside, alarm bells were ringing. What had Mela been telling her? What kind of picture had she painted of me in these sessions? The therapist sat down, took a deep breath, and said, "This might be harder than we thought." That was when Mela reached for my hand, squeezed it gently, and told me what she really brought me here for. She wanted an open marriage. "I'm sorry, what?" I blinked, thinking I must have misheard. Mela's grip on my hand tightened. "I've been thinking about this a lot, and I really believe it's what's best for us." I laughed, not because I thought it was funny, but because I thought this had to be a joke. A test, maybe. But the way she was looking at me, so serious, so expectant, told me this was anything but. "You want to sleep with other men?" I finally asked, my voice quieter now. The therapist spoke up. "We believe that a non-traditional marriage can be healthy and fulfilling. Many couples find that we—" I cut her off. "Who's we?" The therapist hesitated. "Well, Mela and I have discussed—" No. I shook my head, anger rising in my chest. "I didn't come here to have a discussion about we. I came here to talk to my fiancé, not some relationship consultant who's decided to play matchmaker in my life." Mela's eyes welled up with tears. "I love you. I do. But I can't be happy if I don't explore this part of myself. And I know you would never cheat on me. But I also know that you've had way more experience than I have. It's not fair." I leaned back in my chair, rubbing my temples. "So let me get this straight. You want to sleep with other men? Because I've been with more people than you? And you love me too much to let me do the same?" Mela sniffled. "Yes." Silence. And then I stood up. "All right." I turned to the therapist. "Are you licensed?" Her eyes widened slightly. "Excuse me?" "Are you a licensed therapist?" I repeated. "Yes, of course, but—" "Good. Then please explain to my fiancé why we are no longer getting married, effective immediately." And with that, I walked out. The moment I got home, I canceled the wedding. The venue, the flowers, the photographer, everything. Mela lost it. She blew up my phone, my brother's phone, my best friend's phone. She wanted to work through this. She claimed she had been confused and didn't really mean what she said. She blamed the therapist, said she had been manipulated. But it was too late. My family was confused. They had no idea what had happened, and I wasn't sure how much to tell them. Meanwhile, Mela was running her own version of events, trying to control the narrative. The real question was, should I let her? Because what she didn't know was that I had recorded the entire therapy session. I played the recording back a few times, trying to make sense of it all. That was when I noticed something disturbing. The therapist never once said, "Mela wants this." She always said, "We want this. We think this is best. We believe this is the way forward. We have decided this is what will make you both happy. She had inserted herself into our relationship, spoken for Mela, and treated me like an obstacle. To be removed, I decided to report her. With the help of a lawyer friend, I sent a formal complaint to her clinic and the American Psychological Association. It turned out I wasn't the only one. 2 other former patients had already filed complaints. Soon after, the therapist mysteriously disappeared from the clinic's website. A week later, Mela's parents asked to meet. I was expecting anger, maybe even accusations. Instead, I found Mela sitting in their garden, clutching a leather-bound journal. She told me she had started writing in it a year ago, documenting her struggles, work stress, therapy, doubts about our relationship. She begged me to read it, saying it would explain everything. I refused. I didn't need to read a journal to understand what had happened. She had betrayed my trust in the most fundamental way. Nothing she wrote could change that. But then she said something that made my blood run cold. She had been pregnant. She miscarried a few weeks into the pregnancy and never told me. She was afraid I would see her as unworthy, that I would think she was incapable of having children. Hearing that shattered me in ways I never expected. And suddenly, I wasn't just dealing with betrayal, I was dealing with grief. We still had non-refundable tickets to France, our supposed honeymoon. She suggested we go as friends. It was the most ridiculous idea I had ever heard. And yet, for reasons I still don't fully understand, I agreed. France was surreal. For the first time in weeks, we weren't arguing. We weren't dealing with family pressure or wedding drama. We were just 2 people exploring a new place, and when we came back, we weren't exes anymore. We are not the same people we were before. The damage is still there. The scars haven't fully healed. But we are together. Some things have changed. Mela left her high-stress job. We cut ties with toxic influences. She is seeing a real therapist. Do I trust her the way I used to? Not yet. Maybe not ever. But we are taking things one day at a time. Thank you for watching if you haven't subscribed yet. Please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more shocking real-life stories happening around you.